there. My, it's been so long, hasn't it? Said no, it hasn't. Hasn't even been 20. Has it been 20? Hasn't been 24 hours.
No.
Well, it's a daily show now.
It's an hourly show. Let's come in every 12 hours.
Just live continuous coverage.
Are you okay with this? Have you ever done a daily show?
No,
can you handle
never.
this? Can you handle this?
No, this is new to me.
All right, boys and girls, thanks so much for being with us. The roll-on continues. This is Three Guys Before the Game, episode number 626. The title is Searching Again. The search has begun for West Virginia's next head basketball coach, Wren Baker, addressing media members during a press conference on Wednesday. So the search is on. We'll talk about that and more coming up on this episode. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. They won't take no for an answer. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Basically, it'll change your life. You can get that off the App Store or go to gomart.com for details. Three Guys is brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Told you guys last time they got a 40 horsepower Honda motor that they're giving away. We'll talk about that. Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. We're taping early in the morning, which is biscuit time for many. We're in the biscuit season. Three Guys also brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All right. So yesterday when we were together, we did the emergency podcast, so to speak, and that was just the initial thoughts of the turbulence that has once again hit the WVU program. And shortly after we recorded, Wren Baker went to the podium and he addressed media members on the upcoming search for West Virginia's new head coach. It is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, my gosh, it's almost kind of normal. I mean, how many of those has Wren done now?
Deja vu all over again.
I mean, he probably did one before he hired Mark Kellogg. He certainly did one when football started. He did one when, obviously, the interim situation with Josh Eilert, and then he did one before Darren DeVries. So while you were sitting there yesterday, you're going yeah, I've been here a lot. I've seen a lot of these.
Yeah, you used to not. You could go 15, 20 years. There was a period of time for West Virginia in football and basketball where there was no movement, right? The only school in the country that went 20 years with both. Yesterday, Tony, you're right. I was sitting there with Wren thinking, this is just like a regular Tuesday weekly press conference.
It is.
It's not funny. It's not funny, but it's funny.
But it's like, right? You're doing a coaching search, and I felt exactly like we did when we go in for the Tuesday regular press conferences, Tony.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It was like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, we know what this is. Hey, here comes this. Here comes that. How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with that? Okay, boom. See you later.
He did mention something we talked about yesterday in the podcast, just that a lot of the research is done, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple names that you take off the list, and there's a couple names that have been added on the list, but there's some crossover in the pool of candidates from last year. Some of those will still be in the mix, and which we knew, but it's interesting that you went through such a deep dive last year and had the interesting part of this search is just the timing of it. Last year, you had a long run. You had a runway to sit and take your time and watch guys over a period of time. This was an unexpected search that popped up, and you're obviously going to have to move much more quickly.
It was interesting. One of the questions was, are you going to hire a consultant? And he kind of said, well, I don't know. I just did it. I mean, if they do hire a consultant, it would be to try to have a backstop in case everything falls apart.
Yeah, and to do some vetting of candidates there where you can kind of get down the road on them.
So I do have obvious observations. You want those or you want to wait?
Well, obviously, we want those.
All right. First, like you guys said,
Is this sponsored?
By the way,
let's
get into this real quick.
Yeah.
Well, you were gone. I don't know. You were somewhere. You weren't here recently.
I was at the girls' tournament.
Stunner. But someone said that you said that you put a lot of work into your obvious observations, and they said if they're obvious observations, why do you have to spend any time on putting those together?
Well, that's a fair point. Except for me, I still like to prepare.
Well, what have you prepared today?
First, as you alluded to,
You just made it like he was a sixth grader. Okay, Hoppy, you ready to present your project now? Okay, Hoppy, go ahead.
a lot of what Ren said yesterday was boilerplate, which we've heard before, right? I mean, it was, and that's fine. It's boilerplate of the search, and he's not going to reveal names and talking about how they plan to proceed. So a lot of it was boilerplate. One of the he focused on, which again was boilerplate, was that this is a good job, and we talked about this yesterday. This is a good job, and you have passionate fan base. You have support. You're going to have rev share money that's going to be competitive. It's not going to be the most in the country, but it's going to be competitive. And so it's a good job. Now, the whole passionate fan base thing, and Ren mentioned this too, and I think he used the word fishbowl. And that's an important part, because there needs to be a fit here, Brad, because you are in a fishbowl. You're going to be the head coach of football or basketball or pretty much any sport. You're going to go to the Kroger, and people are going to stop you and talk to you. Everybody's going to want to know things about you, want a piece of you. It's not like you're the coach like Earl Grant at Boston College. I mean, he can go to the Walmart, he can go to the Kroger, right? So you have to be, whoever it is has to be comfortable with that. I think at this stage they're probably just doing the vetting, just finding out who's interested, and then they'll go out and start talking to people. I would think timeline-wise, you need to move pretty quickly. Can you get this done in a week? You know what you got yesterday also? You got $6 million. You got $6 million.
That's a big topic that we need to get into.
6.12 or something like that. That is not a small chunk of change when you're trying to raise $20 million and do the payout for Neil Brown and everything else. So you got $6 million. It's going to be, Indiana's going to cut a check for you here in less than 2 months. I know a couple of people are probably reaching out, trying to see if there's any interest in Bob Huggins coming back. There's you never want to say zero, but there's about zero chance of that happening. So I saw an online effort yesterday, bring Huggins back. You never say never, but that's not going to happen. And on the conspiracy theories, Tony, that you mentioned and you got emails about, it's interesting this week they did release another trove of JFK files. And buried in the JFK files that they released, there is a mention of DeVries meeting with Indiana when you all were in the Caribbean. So that is in the JFK file, buried deeply in there.
I didn't even get that. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
A lot was in there.
A lot was in there, and people were just going through it. So that is in the JFK file.
Okay. So, we'll do textual healing coming up in a little bit. And so, obviously, more textual healing texts than time would allow. In other words, they'll have named the new coach by the time we would get through if you read every textual healing. And what I took from all of them are looked at, okay? And then if there's just a general theme, we'll just take one. That's the theme, okay? So rather than sense of repeating everything. Okay, fine. So here's kind of what I took away as I went through those. And that is, obviously, all of us are hurt in some form because of how this happened. This is analogous to you're having a great relationship with someone and they break it off totally with no anticipation. Like, you thought everything was going great. Like, we're not only engaged, like, we're married. This is going to be great. And then she gets, hey, Hop, listen, I think it's time to see other people. That's what this is analogous to. You were just absolutely rejected. So people are very, very angry. Hurt. People are hurt, and I completely get it. I mean, I understand. I feel it, right? I can 100%. I feel it too, right? I get it because you invest.
Yes.
And if you're a fan, you're investing your time, you're investing your dollars, you're investing your emotions, you're investing everything. I get that. And then all of a sudden, when it goes out of nowhere, it freaking hurts.
Yes, it does.
I get it. Okay. So at that time, I think you just have to come to the reality of it. But what happens oftentimes is we try to find ways to make ourselves feel better
Exactly.
about it. And so one of the easy things to do is to make it really polarizing, good guy, bad guy, and you can build this narrative up. Okay. Which leads me to these conspiracy theories and how people, I mean, if I saw the one text from the guy who posted like on March 12th that it was a done deal, and then all this stuff that this deal was cut at the Bahamas, and that they were going to shut Tucker down after 8 games so that he could go with it. I mean, because we don't use expletives, I won't say it, but are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Now, that might make you feel better, but it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely untrue, which led me to a whole nother thing. Now, this will really get you pissed off, but I don't care. I've really never met a smart conspiracy theorist. Like, after you get done talking to someone that's got a conspiracy theorist, I've never walked away from that conversation. I'll tell you what, that's a pretty smart person. Most of the time, that's a dumbass. My opinion. I've never read a real smart one. So while that might make you feel better, like I'll take you and I'll take the field that was absolutely not the case. Now, that'll lead us to Darren's comment yesterday when he took the job that Indiana was respectful toward him. And everyone's running to that and say, see right there, that's a done deal. Again, how this works is this. Did Indiana watch him coach in the Bahamas? Yeah. Did they go like, whoa, that guy's impressive? Very similar to when we watched John Beilein coach at Richmond and we went like, whoa, that guy's impressive. So do they reach out and say, hey, if we have an opening, we'd just like to let you know that we'd like to talk to him. Agent goes, okay. Does he say, and this is how it works, hey, just letting you know, Indiana said they may have an interest if their job opens. That's where it is. So he says, hey, they were respectful. They weren't banging down the doors. They let him coach his team. Whatever happens, happens. If they make a move, they make a move. They want to talk to him. But to put all of these other steps to say, done deal, Tucker backed it down, going to play. Are you friggin' kidding me? Absolutely not.
But there's as you just laid out, like most conspiracy theories, there are enough elements of truth to foster the conspiracy. Right, just that
you can take factoids and try to connect dots illogically.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, that's what it is.
But you may have noticed that conspiracy theories are in vogue right now. So
yeah. So we watched these guys, and when we say we watched these guys,
you're around them, you see them.
I mean, these guys did not stop coaching 24/7 when they were with that team. Middle of the night, flying back, everyone's on a laptop, everyone's breaking down plays, these guys were totally invested.
I'll say this. If he accepted the job in a ballroom in the Bahamas, then West Virginia still got more work out of him than pick 50 random employees at this university. There was still more work being done for this program than 40, 50 employees. So we can move on to something else now.
Yeah, my point is, and I'm not, and again, I'll say all of that by saying this, I'm not going to change anyone's mind.
Right.
Like if you believe in that, just like the Kennedy thing, whatever you want to believe in, totally good. I'm never going to change your mind, but I'm just giving you my opinion that is absolute not true. My thought on that. All right. Search is on. Who do you go get? Is this a good job?
Yes.
It is.
It is a good job.
It is a good job.
I'll say this too. I'll reiterate what I said yesterday. It's better than a good job. It's a really good job. It's a really good job. As defined by me, my definition of that is, as I said yesterday, can multiple people come in and have success? And West Virginia has shown that over a long, extended period of time that different coaches, different styles can come in and win and be very successful here. That defines a really good program. This is it. You've got resources. You've got an administration committed to winning. You've got people that care, and you've got multiple coaches that have done it at a really high level with different styles. You can win here. Really good job. Period.
And, I mean, you take a look at the guys that have been here, right? You've got 2 Hall of Fame coaches in Bob Huggins and John Beeline. And you've had some really super good coaches. It's got a great backbone and a great tradition. And you will be successful here again. There's no question in my mind. You will be successful here again. All right, we'll talk more about the search coming up in just a little bit. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. You know what? They have business and take care of folks. And there's 50 states here, Hoppy, in the United States of America, 48 on the continental side. They do business in 48 states. It's kind of wild. Based right here in Parkersburg, founded right here in Parkersburg. And they are really expert in the field of gaining disability benefits for our military veterans. West Virginia obviously has a very proud tradition when it comes to military folks. And unfortunately, there are things that go on during their times of service that change lives, whether that be a significant injury, whether that be PTSD, or whatever it may be, and you come to the point where you need help. Well, Jan Dills, attorneys at law, that is exactly what they do every single day. So if you or someone that you know is in need of help dealing with issues as the result of military service, contact them, Jan Dills, attorneys at law, and they will walk you through the system. It doesn't cost you a penny. They are paid when you are paid. Remember that in Jan Dills, attorneys at law. You know, Hop, as the NCAA tournament gets ready to begin, there's a major thing that they don't allow you to do.
What's that?
At the NCAA tournament sites.
What's that?
It's a water situation.
Oh, that's right. That's a big deal for you.
Yeah, you have to pour your water into a cup. They don't want anything with a label on it because that could go against it. That is exactly why I think it's 100%. We'll have to confirm this or not, but Comax Business Systems providing all the water coolers at all NCAA tournament sites, and they do. And if you're a business owner and you want to keep your people hydrated, this is the greatest thing in the world. Check them out. They've got these unbelievable hot and cold. Like Brad would like to have a hot tea during the game. He just goes over to the machine. If you're a business owner in your break room or wherever, forget about the plastic bottles. Forget about lugging big heavy water bottles, big 5-gallon, 10-gallon, 15-gallon, whatever they are, jugs. Contact Comax Business Systems, and they have got some of the best stuff in that world. Make everyone happy, make everyone hydrated. Everyone knows a hydrated Hoppy is a happy Hoppy.
Got to stay hydrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Good for your skin, too.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there a profile that West Virginia needs to have, a characteristic that West Virginia needs to have in its new basketball coach? Because we are in an unprecedented era of roster construction, right? This is different than building a team the old way, right? Just think about this for a second. If this would have happened 6 years ago, 4 years ago. West Virginia's program, we know what we'd be saying on this program? Well, it's going to take about a minimum 2, probably 3 years before you can see results of building this team together, because we would be under the assumption that the newcomers would come in, they'd have to grow. If they're freshmen, they got to get bigger, they got to get stronger. Now, this is absolutely instant coffee. Find the water, put the grounds in, stir it up, and you got a cup of coffee, right? They did it here this year. 19 wins after returning 0 points from last season's team. You're going to see Louisville in the NCAA tournament. They did the same exact thing. It can be done. It's a little bit scary to do it, but it can be done. So now when you hire a coach, it's so much more than the X's and the O's. It's as much as, okay, talk to me about your philosophy of roster management. How and where and why are you going to get what you're going to get when you go to shop? You're seeing more and more teams hire professional-based coaches. You saw it at Utah. You saw it at BYU. You're seeing teams go pro model when it comes to roster construction, because at the end of the day, that is the single most important thing. You can have the greatest X and O tactician in the world, But if it's Hoppy running that offense, you got no shot. You need to have a gazelle-type athlete like Brad that can run that offense, and then you're going to have success. So that's as big a part of it as anything. You got to convince Ren Baker, I know how to put a roster together really super quick.
Brad?
Sorry, doing work here.
Doing work.
What are you doing, figuring out rosters?
He's working on the roster. He's getting guys. Hey, you know what's interesting about this search? Well, there's a lot of things interesting about the search, but in reading the Iowa media, Beth, is it Getz? Is that how you say her name? The AD? Brad Beth Getz?
Okay.
Yeah, that she's under pressure because there's a feeling that she missed.
Their fan base might be more mad than West Virginia's fan base about Darren DeVries.
Yeah.
I don't think they just missed. I don't think they were ever in the
But
running.
he didn't.
They weren't ever. They never had. I don't know if they had a chance.
But the perception is that, like, you read the stories and go, wow, now that Getz missed on DeVries, what are you going to do now? So she's under the microscope.
Yeah, there's no question they're under some pressure, but that's why you don't read Hawk Fan 912 that said Darren DeVries was going to be the next coach. Don't read that one. Move on.
With all due respect, the Hawk Fan 912.
But I will say this, and we might as well mention that there's an obvious crossover candidate right there in Ben McCollum, who is, ironically, from the state of Iowa and coaching at Drake. And you start to look at some profiles, and you asked about what the profile is of the next coach. You had it in Darren DeVries. You try and replicate what you had there. You had a guy that was a really good culture builder, and we watched him up close. I thought that might be, of all the things about him, his building of the culture and getting those guys to buy in and stay connected was number one on that list. You got a guy that was really heavily invested in defensive principles and toughness. But then you had a guy, and listen, the numbers didn't back up what was there philosophically in terms of the offensive acumen. And I kept saying that all year. The stuff that Darren and that staff was drawing up and implementing game by game was really elite stuff. Now, you had a bunch of guys that were either playing too early or playing at this level for the first time, and the shots didn't always fall. Mm-hmm. That was coming in the next years. You got a guy that was really balanced in terms of offense and defense, and I think you look for that again, is somebody that can do all of that particular stuff. Reason I bring up Ben McCollum is there's an obvious tie to the University of Iowa. There's an obvious tie to West Virginia in that he was at Northwest Missouri State with Ren Baker while he was winning his 4 national titles. So I think you can fairly assume that Ben McCollum is going to be near or at the top of the list of calls that you make. I'll go through some Drake numbers in a minute. They're pretty similar. But guys, let's talk profile here for another second. This is what I was calculating when we came on. As you watch this league, Tony, throughout the season, would you consider the Big 12 more of a defensive-heavy league or an offensive-heavy league? Because my immediate knee jerk would be defensive.
Yeah,
it was
about
hard
Iowa
to
State,
score on a lot of teams.
Yeah,
Houston,
yeah,
you talk
Texas
about West
Tech,
Virginia.
yeah.
There was a top 15 defense. I mean, there were some really good defenses. 5 of them in the top 22 nationally. So you better have some toughness and defense to you. But here's what surprised me as I'm looking down this: 6 of the top 21 offenses nationally were in the Big 12. That kind of surprised me. And I thought one thing jumped here as I was doing this. This is real quick. This is in the last couple minutes. Teams that we have been traditionally as hard-nosed defensively as you can get, Houston and Iowa State, made a clear and noticeable switch this year to become more offensive-based. Still really good defense. Houston still number 2 nationally in defensive rating, and that's still where they hang their hat. Iowa State 10th nationally defensively, still hang their hat. Both of those teams have added extreme shooters in the last couple of years to get really good offensively, and I think that's a reaction to you can be good in the Big 12. You want to win a national title, you've got to have guys that can score and shoot. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you can't get all the way in year 1 under this next coach. So again, I think the Darren model is right. Build it defensively first and stay competitive while you get it going, and then you start to layer in and mix in offensive threats and scorers / shooters on top of that. But I think the model's set. What Ren was looking for last year, and Ren knows this, that's why you ended up with a Darren DeVries. You're looking for the same thing as you go into the search this year.
Here's another element to this, which is less statistical and more macro, and that is when he hired Darren DeVries, which I would still argue was a great hire. That's a great hire. It's too bad he's leaving.
You don't need to argue it. It was a great hire.
Yeah. One of the things talked about and one of the things we mentioned was he was not a job jumper, which makes the jump stunning. So,
correct.
So you didn't think he was going to leave after year one, but he did. And so you've had, you're going to go into 4 coaches in 4 years. So the next hire, and I don't know how you do it, whether you do it, you have some assurance or in a contract, you cannot have that person leave after 1 year.
But you also, you're not in control of that. And I thought that's something Ren said that was interesting. He just said, I'm at peace that knowing I don't make that decision. Darren made the decision to go to Indiana. And what you do is exactly what he and the university did. There's a severe monetary penalty for that coach doing that. And if Indiana has enough money they want to pay that for him, okay, so be it. And you go do your search. You can't do anything about that. And I think you've got to be careful to go into it with that as a mindset. I think you go into it hiring the very best basketball coach you can right now. And if we're sitting here a year from now, then we're sitting here a year from now. I mean, what can you do to control or not control? What can you do to stop that? You can't. That's the decision of somebody else. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand the knee-jerk reaction to say, you got to get somebody that's going to stay. I don't know how you control that. Go get a great basketball coach. And if you get a great basketball coach, guess what? There's going to be calls coming in constantly. You can't stop somebody from leaving. You put monetary penalties in there so that it benefits you, and you go get a great coach, and then you do it again.
History, even though the perception seems that because you now are going to be on your 4th coach in 4 years, that this has become a stepping stone, I think that's a misperception. I think you just got into a very atypical rash of departures.
Right.
Obviously, one was a forced departure, which led to an interim, which led to Darren, which led to a stunning surprise. However, keep this in mind. West Virginia had 3 basketball coaches from 1979 to 2023. 3 coaches.
But it was a different time.
It was a different time, but this is not to say that this is going to become the norm. I mean, there was you had an interim coach, so it was going to change over. You knew that was going to change over. That was uncharacteristic. So my point is that this job, history says people stay at this. I gave it to you yesterday. This is the first time in 80 years that a coach went 1 and out. Coaches don't go 1 and out. I mean, West Virginia, unfortunately, has had it happen to it twice, but that is the exception rather than the rule. The Dawn Plitzowite and the Darren DeVries departures are atypical in comparison. And as Brad said, they're paying a heavy dollar amount. Over $6 million to leave, that's a football buyout, which is even high. Like if you saw that in the football where you go, damn, they're paying $6 million, that's unusual.
In fact, in the Indiana press, it was like, wow, they must really want this guy. They're going to pay $6 million.
Correct. And Ren said that. He said, I haven't heard of one that is larger than what this one was. That's what you do. That's how you, air quotes, protect yourself. That's all you can do. Go make a great hire of a good coach, and you need to do it well enough that other people want you, and you have a buyout in there, and you go hire another coach.
I think you found a solution to this fundraising issue.
What is that?
Every year you hire a great coach, and you have this enormous buyout.
Yeah.
And guarantee another $6 million.
And you walk them. Yeah.
And you shop him.
It's not funny.
It was kind of funny.
Well, it's a little bit funny.
A little bit funny.
Textual Healing's coming up. We doing any spreads on stats?
Well, I just kind of did it.
Okay.
That was it. But whose spreads on stats brought to you by?
Well, it is brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They're the only accounting firm that we know of that doesn't get nervous on April the 15th. They just go, bring it. In fact, I think Conley CPA Group goes, what's that buyout? Let me tell you how much tax you're paying on that.
Yeah.
They can do that. So visit Conley CPA Group. They do provide value beyond numbers, full-service public accounting, been in business now for 40 years. This is their 40th anniversary. And whether it be big or small, they can handle it. They can also outsource your accounting within your building. You don't have to have an accountant on hand. Give it to them. They take care of it. Also, they provide CFO services as well.
We'll do a couple more numbers coming up.
Three Guys Before the Game is also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Going to get these really nice weather days coming up, and right now, your opportunity, just all you have to do is go to their website, sign up. You could win a Honda 40 horsepower outboard motor. Really super simple. Go to LouWendellMarineSales.com. That's LouWendellMarineSales.com. Whether you're a seasoned captain, like the guy that ran the boat there for Gilligan's Island, or just a weekend boater, whatever it might be, a nice brand new 40 horsepower Honda motor would be absolutely tremendous. Go to LouWendellMarineSales.com.
Just read a story yesterday. Who's the only surviving member of that cast?
Wow. There's one left?
One left.
Female?
Yes.
Marianne?
No.
Ginger.
Tina Louise.
Ginger's still going. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. She lives in New York, and she helps young kids with their reading, and keeps kind of a low profile. I don't know how I stumbled across. I was reading yesterday, and I just came across that.
First book she reads from Moby Dick. Let me tell you a little story about Captain Ahab. What do you got? You look like you're perched. You got something?
He's got something.
No, just
What?
again, when you talked about profile, I was just kind of thinking about that a little bit more. If you go back into West Virginia's numbers this year, it is interesting to look at it. If you want to try and find a formula to win right away in a big boy league with a lot of talent, it really was last year was a good model. So think about what you did with team construction. You put some guys in there that you felt were good character guys and would buy into what you're preaching,
right,
and would be very coachable and have a good locker room and a good work ethic. Check.
Yes.
Got all of that. Then you mix in a superstar. Now, I think everybody associated with that program knew Javon Small was an outstanding basketball player. I'm not sure you could have predicted he would have a player of the year type of year. And again, some of that was by necessity. Right. After Tucker's injury, he was forced into, hey, you're going to have to do more than we would have normally asked. And, man, he rose to the occasion.
Yes.
That's one of the all-time great single seasons in the last however many years you want to go back. That truly was an All-American type of season. But if you look at it from an overall team perspective, the defense, what do they always say? It was very cliche, but it worked. Defense travels, right? Yeah. It's easier to implement defense right out of the gate. West Virginia, within the Big 12, fourth in defensive efficiency overall, fourth in opponent effective field goal percentage, fifth in turnover percentage, fourth in three-point field goal defense, fourth in steal percentage. Really elite defensive numbers. And it shows how far defense can take you guys, because if you look at this offense, it really struggled on the whole throughout the year. 13th in overall offensive efficiency within the league, 13th in effective field goal percentage, 16th in offensive rebounding, which we know, 15th in free throw rate. So a lot of those free points we talked about all year, you weren't able to get. 13th in free throw percentage, which is surprising because they had some games where they were really good shooting the basketball. 15th in tempo, really slow pace because you were trying to shorten games. So the formula is there early. Can you go out, and we always say this about basketball, the challenge for Rich is he can't go just get two elite guys.
Right.
He needs a bunch of really good players. Basketball, go fill it with guys that will play in your system, will be coachable, and will be tough and get after it. This last year's team had that. And sprinkle in as many good offensive players as you can, but at least have one really talented dude offensively and build around that, and off you go.
If you
just take your swings.
If you just cited those offensive stats and didn't know what the defensive stats were, you would have said this team won 10 games all year.
And so it had to be elite on the defensive end, and
it
was.
It was.
It was a top 15 national defensive.
So you're saying
team.
It's easier to rebuild. Are you then looking for a guy? I mean, given that you have resources but they're somewhat limited, are you looking for a guy who starts with defense and has that same mentality?
Yes. I think you have to. But again, based on what I just said with what Kelvin Sampson's switch was and what TJ Otzelberger's philosophical switch was, I think they have, just again, read the tea leaves, come to the realization that you can't probably win it all with just defense. And we saw that here with Hugs. I mean, those defensive teams were as good as any in the country. And what would happen at times late?
Yeah.
You'd be like, I got to get a shot. I can't make a shot here. I can't get offense going. So if you're going to rise to the very highest level, you have to have both. And that's evidenced by, and I don't have the number right in front of me, but it's 24 of the last 25 years, 25 of the last 26. You've ended the regular season in the top 20 in offense and defensive efficiency in KenPom if you're going to win a national title. So you've got to find both. I'm just illustrating here, if you're looking for the quick, immediate rebuild, it can be done with defense and an offense that isn't quite there yet.
Got it.
Yeah, got a guard. Absolutely got a guard. All right, ready to do some healing?
Yes, we need it.
Need some healing? All right, that's the case. Let's do some healing.
Although you can move on pretty quickly.
Excuse me?
I mean, again, we're going through the stages.
Right.
Right? And it was, denial, anger, etc. But now, what are we talking about?
We got to turn the page.
Talking about getting a new coach.
Sure.
Talking about that. I mean, that's...
Absolutely. You in town next week?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Be nice if you could go over to the introductory press conference whenever that happens. What do you think, Brad? Get him over there?
Sure.
You haven't been to one of those in a long time, have you?
Well, I did. They come up all the time, so I just I'll pick one.
I'll go to next week's.
To the next week's.
Yeah. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by episode800.com. That's our website where you can get a little bit of everything. Our coffee, our popcorn, our apparel, and a whole lot more. Also, keep this in mind. Next week is the Day of Giving. And Three Guys Before the Game is partnered with the folks at the WVU Cancer Institute. And they have created a separate giving area called Connection 304, where they're going to help people that make a donation. And take a look. March 26th, the Day of Giving. And once again, we're tied in with our good friends at the WVU Cancer Institute, Dr. Hannah Hazard, and all of those folks. So if you're someone that gives on the Day of Giving, when you go to that site, dayofgiving.wvu.edu, and you get into the area there with cancer and the Cancer Institute, you'll see a area for Connection 304. That's us, and we'll have more about that coming up later on. You ready for some healing?
Yeah.
Again, these are just basically an overview, general theme of what we received. Three guys, I know now what it feels like to be part. Sugar. Let me go 3, 2, 1. Three guys, I know what it feels like to be beat up behind the dumpster out back, only to run into the adjacent alley and get beat up again.
Wow.
I'm pretty bummed. Not only am I not invited to the big dance, but my girlfriend runs off with my best friend.
Ouch.
Three guys plea. Make it stop. Say the doctor is in. Textual Healing. Help me. John in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Hey, Tony, I wrote about this and talked about this yesterday, that devoted fans have a strong emotional connection to the university, to the sports programs, and then tangentially to the coaches and the players, even if they don't know them or haven't met them. So it hurts. It hurts because it is very personal. But in today's environment, it's you're walking on an emotional razor's edge by doing that.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, 100%. It's the business that we've chosen in our investment. Next one. Three guys, hello from Iowa.
Everything comes out of Iowa now.
And leaves from Iowa, too. This is John Auer.
Our guy.
I just want Mountaineer Nation to know. So this is Jake Auer's dad. Jake, the unbelievable shooter.
Yeah.
I just want Mountaineer Nation to know what an amazing experience this past year has been for Jake and our family. We met some of the most genuine people and passionate fans, and we were instantly welcomed like family. We were raised as Hawkeyes, but we will always cheer for the Mountaineers. And for the record, Jake is the best shooter to ever come out of West Des Moines Valley High School. Thank you all.
Wait a minute.
Well done, John.
Wait a minute. We know another pretty good shooter that came out of West Des Moines.
Jake was awesome.
Bring Jake back.
He's done.
Would love to have him.
Eligibility.
What do you mean he's done?
Eligibility. He's done.
He's got a career to go.
What do you mean eligibility?
I will say
He's done. He's 5 years. He's done. You can't play anymore.
Who says?
Personally, that was awesome having Jake here.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, now he can come out and admit
Jake's whole family. It was great seeing them. They were at a lot of events, so we appreciate John and the family. And Jake was awesome. Great Mountaineer.
Now they can.
And clearly the best shooter from Valley High School ever to play at West Virginia.
Okay, there was a qualifier in there.
They were the best.
Both of you don't know.
Thanks, John.
Brad played there and scored 2,000 points.
Well, not that many.
3,000.
Not that many.
I think he should come out now and admit, I guess I was just pretending I actually did make more than 8 threes in a game. I did break your record. It'd be great if you did that now. Texter, it's been a rough 22 months for us, especially the last 72 hours. What did we do to deserve this?
Became a fan.
Just when we thought the future was looking right, bam, another kick in the teeth. Looking on the bright side, I firmly believe we've got the best athletics director in the country. Baseball team winning. Come fall, Rich Rod going to have the football team rolling like it's 2005. Here's the better days ahead.
How about old Steve Saban's in that baseball team?
They just keep winning.
Lined up,
beat them.
Yeah, watch that last night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you were
Great
there,
start.
right?
I went 2 nights ago. I watched last night. Yeah, beat the JMUers. Texter, to all the young Mountaineer fans out there, welcome to the club. A great season capped off by getting screwed by the committee, followed by the coach leaving. Bring on Textual Healing in football season. Adam from Shady Spring.
You know what, though? It just, again, I'm in the acceptance, move on mode. I mean, it just, the university, Tony, is always here. It's going to be here. It's never going to go away. The athletic programs, Brad, aren't going to go away. It's a continuum. So it'll be around. You're good to go.
Texter, this is just me needing to vent. I'm 54 years old, avid WVU fan my entire life. I went from listening to every game on the radio, growing up, being a season ticket holder, donor. I know I am a homer, and it means more to me than most, and it shouldn't let it affect me so much. It's bad when your moods, your sleep, your overall well-being is based on people you've never even had a conversation with. I know that I'll get over it, but this shift. Oh, he didn't say shift.
No, he
but
said
I did say,
S
but I
word.
did say.
Thank God you butchered the reading of that.
But this shift is getting old. No loyalty anywhere. This has turned into such a me world. I laid in bed last night actually thinking for the first time ever that it would be smarter to quit being so involved, become a casual fan, save my money and time for something else. I love the Mountaineers, but it's like an abusive relationship.
Ouch.
You put everything into it and then continue to break your heart and hurt you. I don't know. Just wanted to vent. Sorry for the long, really nothing text. Just wanted to be heard. If really is a long drive. It really is a long drive.
It really is a long drive.
I meant
and
to
a lot
say
of
it instead of
investment
if. It really is a long drive, a lot of investment for people who don't even know your name.
Boy, you're struggling today, Tony. I mean,
wait a second. Is there a typo there?
There is
so
a
if
typo.
I said if, would that be my fault because I said if really along? Is it my fault because the
Why
guy
is he
had
so
a
mad at
typo?
My goodness, he went
I
from
mean, there
0
wasn't
to-
a typo when you misspoke the word up top, which thank God
You're
you
lucky
did. or
for
we
that.
get a violation.
Go ahead,
Although it is a
Hop.
podcast, you probably could have said it.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
podcast, right?
we don't do that. We're not.
Well, he did. We didn't do it. He's just reading what the guy said.
Well, that is true.
He didn't do it.
Hello again. In light of all the talk
Pretty good.
about
That was a pretty good text, though.
no,
I understand what he
we
said.
need
Like,
to spend some time.
That's the essence of
That
fandom,
is-
right?
that
That's the
couldn't have-
essence of fandom.
That
What
couldn't
did I
have
say
been any
yesterday?
business.
What did I say yesterday?
Yeah, that
It's
was
exactly-
it. I think
exactly it.
I think he said it better.
Well, I would agree with that because he's living it.
Yes.
Okay, that's a testimonial.
Yes.
I was thinking about this too, because I once said this to a class I was speaking to about the profession of being in athletics. And I used the example, I've told this story before, how down in Miami, the Kellen Winslow catch game,
Yes.
Quincy Wilson.
Yes.
See, I even did it. It should be the Quincy Wilson run game.
Right.
But you lose the game, so what do you remember? You
Yes.
default to the negative, and you remember the Kellen Winslow
right.
ridiculous catch. And I've told the story how I was not on the air at that time. I was working in the athletic department, but I'd always go up and stand by the radio stuff, and that was on the roof of the old Orange
Sure.
Bowl. So we're standing there, and before the fourth down play, and I got nothing to do with it, right? I'm not calling any plays. I'm not down on the field. I'm not even on the radio having to talk about it. I had to go to the edge of the Orange Bowl. I thought I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
I went to the edge of the orange. I did not, but I went to the edge because I think I'm going to throw up here. Because it was such a massively important game where you were just starting to hoping Rich could ramp the thing up. It would have been a monumental signature win. And my point to all of that was, as a career choice, as tough as that moment was, and that was a tough moment professionally. Now it's going to affect my job when I go out to sell. It would have been a lot easier to sell had we won that game. So all those things. And I just said, you know what, though? That's part of the deal.
Yes.
That's part of the deal to be, my opinion was, to be in a profession that gave you that feeling, even though it was on the bad end of the spectrum. But it gave you that feeling. It's kind of the same thing with fandom. Yeah. The highs are higher when you're totally invested, but the lows are no doubt lower.
Yeah, that's really well said.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's well said.
Okay, go ahead.
100%. Texter, in light of all of the talk about the Kubler-Ross's stages of grief, I thought I'd share with you all what I believe to be a more accurate representation. It can get ugly. Take a look at this graphic. There you go, Hop.
That's pretty good. That's good, too. You mean it doesn't follow a nice smooth path?
It's not a real.
It's all that
not a curve.
the one on the right's actually more representative.
It is, absolutely. Because you can go back, you can go in a lot of different directions.
That's absolutely right.
That's good.
Tell you, he added, P.S. Thanks for keeping us all up to date on the madness that's Mountaineer Sports. Truly appreciate it. That was Kim.
Save that. We need to keep that for the next time it happens.
That's a good one.
Texter, first time, long time. WVU coaching is like the great Schmidt's Saloon. You'll see some amazing talent, either on its way up or on the way down, but never in their prime. College athletics is becoming exhausting. Texter, Amy in New Martinsville. West Virginians are super nice, welcoming people. We treat you as our own. We welcome you to our table like an Italian grandmother. But we can also hold a grudge like a Hatfield or a McCoy.
True.
Steal our pig, our money, our players, and we're going to fight. I think we're all feeling like Hatfields and McCoys right about now.
Did McAfee go off? He went off, didn't he?
I saw several things yesterday, but I didn't. I don't.
On DeVries? I thought he went off personally.
I don't know. Did he, Brad? Did you see anything? I don't
know.
I didn't see it. Texter, Mike from Salem checks in. Does anyone know what Andy Kotelnicki's philosophy is handling on a 1-3-1 zone?
Very good.
Also,
very good.
Also, the phrase "freaking Thurston" should be on a T-shirt. Just trying to keep everyone laughing instead of crying.
Well done. Excellent text.
I'll put a smile on your face. Remember that our friends at Tudor's Biscuit World right now, going on right now, you buy one biscuit, regular price. You get another biscuit for just $1. That's right. You can buy sausage biscuit. You can get the Dottie. You can get the Peppy, hash brown, whatever it is. You buy one and you get another for $1.
What about the Three Guys biscuit?
That is really good.
Don't know if you get cheese on it or not.
Don't go sending people there asking for the Three Guys biscuit, because then they'll get inundated, and then we'll get a call from corporate going, "Hey guys, we don't have a Three Guys biscuit."
No,
so
the call from corporate should be then, "Hey guys, we've got a Three Guys biscuit."
Right.
Is what the call would be.
And on the menu, it just has a question mark.
So it's not just the cheese. You're not sure what biscuit it'll be, because you're not sure what you're going to get on this show.
That's right.
Just walk in, order a biscuit.
Three Guys.
Like Three Guys biscuit. Okay, what are you getting back? Throw it out.
I'm just trying to save people money. I mean, that's all.
That's all.
I mean, like, again, the greatest deal in the world is over at Gomart on that gas thing off their app.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all you got to do is play a silly game on the app. Just play a silly game on the app. Just play the game on the app, and then you get 20 cents off a gallon of gas. Like, how good of a deal is that? If you don't have that Gomart app, go get the Gomart app, because all that does is get you money. So you play a game on there. They got these little silly games like put a tail on Hoppy, something like that on there, and then put a tail on Hoppy. You played the game, now you get 20 cents off a gallon when you play it. It's a heck of a deal, plus all the other great savings that they have going on now. Use your Gomart card, roll them up, and save money all of the time.
Domino Dreams, you were talking about, right? That's the game. You play Domino Dreams.
Is that what it is, not pin the tail on Hoppy?
No, I don't think that's up yet.
Well,
Domino Dreams, I think it is right now.
Yeah, go there right now, 20 cents off a gallon. Why wouldn't you do that? Visit the folks at Gomart. Gentlemen, like the rest of Mountaineer Nation, I've been going through my own stages of grief after the historic snubbing and the devastation of the departure. Where I have arrived is at the acceptance stage of a hard truth. When the top 50 to 60 programs in the big money sports inevitably split off to form their own league in the next 5 to 10 years, West Virginia will not be among them. Any question of that has been answered over the last 72 hours. Our market is too small. Our history and culture aren't valued enough outside of West Virginia to match the price of admission in 2025. The only question is, how are we going to prepare for what's staring us in the face? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on where we go from here. Cheers, AC from Logan.
Here's mine, and that is what WVU has done and what it continues to do as a very small state without a growing population in multiple sports is nothing short of miraculous, number one. Number two is back to the small state, and I hear this when I talk to people about this. There are simply not that many people in the state who have that much money and that many deep pockets. There just aren't. And you have all kinds of entities at West Virginia, and people loyal to the university, whether it's a specific school, whether it's the foundation, whether it's alumni, whether it's sports, whether it's whatever, asking for money. You got the Day of Giving coming up. So there are a lot of hands out looking for contributions. This is not I think people in West Virginia are generous and alumni are generous, but it simply is not the easiest place to raise giant amounts of money.
It's not, but it never has been. We've said this all the time. It's more in your face now what different schools are paying, but that's always been the case. There's always been schools that have been paying, even though they shouldn't have been sometimes. I'll say what I've said for a long time. When I started here 30 years ago, the athletic department budget was less than $20 million per year.
That's incredible.
It's grown to $100 million. Has the state significantly increased in population or size since then?
No, not at all.
Have massive Fortune 500 companies flooded in?
No.
It's in essence the same group of people and the same markets that have generated this dollar. So I don't know that I share that belief yet that West Virginia is on the outside looking in if it further consolidates. I like to think West Virginia is in the table, and I think throughout, again, it's history. The basketball program is one with different coaches. This athletic program has survived over all the different eras of changing in college athletics.
Right. Different conferences.
What you have to do, though, you've got to win on the field and the court, and you've got to keep that going, and you've got to do it in football and basketball at a high level ASAP. That's what keeps you relevant in these changing times. You have got to win, and you've got to win now.
That was going to be my entire comment. The only thing West Virginia can control right now as we move toward, if you want to put it in a 5 to 10 year window, is exactly what Brad just said. You have got to be unbelievably good right now. Historically, think back, Rich Rod's first run, the Big East imploding, and West Virginia wins the Sugar Bowl, right? That was beholden by the Big East Conference. It was massive. It was a massive thing at that moment because it helped. So you have got to be really, really good right now. And all of these other sports that are doing really well, women's basketball and baseball and everything else that's going well, that's all good. But your two big daddies, your football and your men's basketball, you have got to have success right now so that when that time comes, if there is a separation, you've got to be, they've got to come in. If you're struggling here now and you just become an afterthought, it could be very, very bad for you in the program. So Ren said this yesterday during his presser, like, you've got to be really, really good right now. I remember back to the days of Shane Lyons. Like, he says, I'm building stuff here, and we're building this, and we're building that, because we need to be the best representation of ourselves. So the next time someone comes around and goes, okay, who are we going to take, who are we going to take, who are we going to take, you better be attractive, right? You can't go out with a T-shirt and your jeans on. You better be always looking spiffy. And that's what you need to do as a department.
Win and support. Those are the two things. Win and support, because think how you watch games. You always see, look at all those people. Right? So win and support, and those are linked together, right? You win, people are coming and there's support. And West Virginia's been good about that. But win and support, those are the two things, and you'll have a seat at the table, in my opinion.
Texter, it's not always a bad thing for a coach to leave after 1 year who clearly did not want to be here. Example, coach leaves. Coach goes to a new school. She has a 13-23 conference record, never ranked, does not make the NCAA tournament in 2 years. New coach, this will be Mark Kellogg, Goes 25-11 in the conference, ranked in every poll since December 25 of 23, back to the NCAA tournament appearance. This may be a blessing for us in the long run.
That puts away the struggle. So
Yeah, that's what it is. She's 13-23 in the league. Texter, 3 guys. This is sad. This next text is sad because we know her. 3 guys, this is my final text. I don't have the heart to care anymore.
Oh.
West Virginia got screwed by the NCAA. A few days later, got screwed again. Darren spoke with a forked tongue regarding his commitment to the people of West Virginia University and the players. I have no further interest in college sports. Between gambling, NIL, lack of dedication to commit to work to improve your team, I'm out. We'll continue to listen to your show because I love the connectedness that comes from listening. Thank you. MJ in Savannah. Remember her, Hop? You ever met her?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brad,
Sorry to hear
MJ.
that.
Absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that from MJ.
Yeah.
Texter, can we use some of the money that Indiana is going to pay us to repave Cheat Lake Road 119? Killed my car when we came up for the UCF game. Lastly,
Hey, I have good news about that.
Well, we should have led with that. That's the most important thing being discussed today. Should have led with that. Go. What's
Is that 119 or 857? That
Sorry,
section.
what?
But are you talking about by the?
I don't know. I didn't write the text.
Gosh, but Brad,
Whatever. Do you have a road update? Because I'd love a road update.
well, we're talking about the section of the 4
I don't
lane.
care what you can pick any roads you want in Morgantown. I don't care what you're talking about. If you got a good road update that something's getting paved, I'd like to hear this.
Yes. And I think it's 857 there that goes by the Exxon.
Get to the story.
Hey, weren't you big?
Get to the good news. Somebody's
the damn
paving
roads.
something.
I fixed the damn roads.
Well, then
I
he
fixed
quit.
the damn roads.
Then he quit.
He fixed the
Then he
damn
quit.
roads. Yeah, he fixed them.
So I don't care what
then he
road it
walked
is.
out. Then he walked out on the people of the state of West Virginia. He said, I'm going to fix the roads, fix the damn roads, FTD, la, la, la. And then you walked away, and now we go outside, and it's like walking on the moon.
If any road is getting fixed in Morgantown, I'd love to hear this.
I
Please
It's
go
your
ahead.
fault.
Stop yelling at him. I'm yelling at him too, but please go ahead.
857 from the old Cheat Lake Road when you come back. What is the name?
Honest to God, you've said 857 now 6 times. Is something getting paid?
Yes, that section of road. They're not paving. They're just they're patching the holes.
It was the worst update in the history of updates. That was ridiculous. Move on.
It was a bad update.
So many damn this thing.
It was. Did not do a good job on that.
Seems this retirement seems you've lost your flair. Lost your flair to communicate.
Had
I think, a little
seven scoreless minutes there. I was not good.
Well, you're not there. 850 says, hey, 857, come on, across 119, Old Cheat Lake, Iron Bridge, the old Iron Bridge. Is that where they're tired?
The road.
The old Iron Bridge.
The road in front of where you turn in to go to Lowe's.
Hell, you were just about a second away from a Rubies and Catchies reference there.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up because we got to come back in at 9 o'clock tonight and do our next 12-hour update.
Live coverage continues.
Last text just said, honorable mention my ass, regarding Javon Small getting honorable mention All-American.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Should have been much higher on the ladder than that.
Okay. Ding and Dong are going down to Charleston for the state tournament. So if you're going to the state tournament, you'll be able to see him. Try to get a map, bring it out to Hoppy, show him where the roads are, and he'll be more than happy fix the roads.
You need to work on that.
I think he is a human GPS. In regard to our
I am like, never mind. That's not didn't do well.
So the NCAA tournament begins today. We're recording Thursday morning.
We're not talking about that.
Well, we are because
you might want to scout some potential coaches.
Yeah, there's always.
Okay, all right.
You've got Ben McCullum playing against Missouri tonight. You've got this is a pretty intriguing matchup. Jared Calhoun against UCLA.
Yeah, Utah State against UCLA.
Jared and Cronin know each other from their days at Cincinnati when they were both there with Bob Huggins, among others. Nico Medved, the Colorado State coach, in all likelihood coaching his final games. The belief is that he's on his way to Minnesota. So you're going to see a ton of guys coaching. High Point coach also coaching. Right?
Yeah, High Point got in.
High Point's in, and that's another name that's on lists.
Fairly highly thought of in the basketball world.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
offensive mind there.
Yeah, absolutely. So just among others, take a look at it. Our plan is to come back here and do a show Monday. I don't think you'd have anything as far as a hire any quicker, but if it happens, I mean, if it busts, what's today? Thursday? Like if all of a sudden something comes down like Saturday, hey, it's done, Sunday, it's done, we'd probably come back in, right?
Won't Saturday.
Yeah, now it's Saturday because these guys are down there. But like, if we need to be here in an emergency, we'll be here in an emergency.
It's 119 between.
Play the music.
It's 119 between 68 and the mile ground. They've done a lot of good work there, patching the road. 119 between.
That's great, Hop. Yeah, that's great.
There used to be orange groves there, as far as the eye could see. Used to ride the trolley out there.
Used to take a ferry boat across there with a big rope, pull us across there. It was unbelievable. Had a great grand time. It was wonderful. Just wonderful. We picked berries over on the other side. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. They won't take no for an answer. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They sell family fun. Start your day the homemade way with a Lou Wendell motorboat. That's how I always looked at it, don't you? What's that?
Could have taken one out yesterday. It was so nice.
Nice.
Some call it the old cheat road, too.
Sign up for the boat motor giveaway. It's a Honda 40 horsepower engine. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. And by Conley's CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Again, Brad and Hoppy will be at the Charleston State Basketball Boys Tournament this weekend. So if you would, on my behalf, go to Tudor's Biscuit World around the Charleston area and bring these guys biscuits.
Don't do that.
Yes, bring these guys. No. Your microphone's up. Bring these guys biscuits on Saturday. They really want. Guess what happens when your volume's down? Look at that. Bring the guys biscuits. They really, really hungry. Bring them a Tudor's Biscuit. Gotcha. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to producer Jake. Three Guys Before the Game. See you.